Greetings, everyone. It's an all-you-can-geek movie cast. Without Jim, he is not here yet, but he's dealing with his own stuff, and hopefully he will join us. But luckily for you, I am here, Corey Feinsod, with Mike Sanity
What's up?
and Tony Korkanakis.
Hey yo.
Yo, yo, guys. So yeah, this past week looked like the box office was still dominated by Taylor Swift. Taylor
Taylor
Swift is
Swift
everywhere.
as the number
She's
one box office and the number one album, I think.
and number one place in NFL fans' hearts, apparently.
What?
Yeah, she's all over the NFL right now because of Travis Kelsey. They're
Oh, her.
together now, I guess.
Oh,
So
yeah.
every chance the NFL has to like spotlight her, it's like she's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's saving movie theater box offices. So there you go. That's Taylor Swift in the box office. If you're a Swiftie, good for you guys, but she is everywhere. But yeah. So what have you guys been up to? I know big game came out, but have you got a chance to watch anything, Mike?
Yeah.
I figure as much. Tony,
Mhm.
anything?
No, I meant to catch up with Loki, and I didn't
Hmm.
before Double Game
Okay.
Friday. So
Did you just
this week
watch the one episode, or did you watch
I only
two?
watched the
And
first episode,
oh,
so I
okay.
got two to
I
catch
did
up
watch
with.
the third. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
did watch the third episode. It is it's pretty good. I don't want to spoil anything,
Hmm.
obviously, if you haven't been there or not or gotten there, but I like where it's going. It's interesting, and we'll see how things progress. But I'm enjoying it so far, and I do think it's a lot better than the Star Wars stuff that I've seen,
Yeah.
and it's been
No, it's
better
not
than some
hard.
of the Marvel. Yeah, but it's also been a little better than some of the Marvel stuff also. So
How many episodes
there
is
is
it
that.
supposed to be? 6 or?
That's a good question. I thought eight, but then I kind of just thought that because that's what everything has been recently. But I
Hmm.
actually don't know. We might want to do it live and find out to give the audience the what is this, season two, right?
Yeah.
Season two episodes. Let's see. Season two. Oh, this is all season two, episode one. We gotta get to IMDb here.
6 episodes.
It is wow. Wow, it seems
There
so.
we go.
So we're halfway through already.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. Okay. No, these characters are really good on screen, so I'm enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to where they're going with this. So yeah, you definitely have to catch up. We'll talk about it on the cast and let you guys know how we are liking or disliking it. Yeah. So other than that, really same thing. Been more preoccupied with some other stuff we'll get into on the game cast. So let's move into some news. We're gonna get right into some of the stuff going on in the movies industry here because it looks like Mission Impossible. It's a two-parter that the Dead Reckoning that Tom Cruise has put out, and that got delayed. So more delays, as we know, with the strikes and stuff happening. This is just more, I think, going on. But
Yeah,
going from 2024 into 2023, that or 2025, that's kind of a large
the
delay
actors are
considering it's
still
a
on
part
strike, right?
two.
They're
Yep.
not done
Actors are
yet.
still on strike. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Yeah.
not exactly what we anticipated here when the writers
Not
wrapped it up.
after, yeah, not after the
Well,
writers kind of sorted things out, but at the same time, these guys need to make sure they're, protecting themselves and
well, I mean, it's
getting what they
weird
need.
that the companies dealt with the writers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they don't want to negotiate with the actors. They're like, yeah, the writers, you guys come back to work, but the actors, fuck you. We're gonna leave you hanging for
Yeah.
a couple more weeks or whatever. It's like,
I mean, feels like long. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's still going
yeah,
anywhere. It seems
it's like we need to wait
done.
for the writers to fucking work on some shit before we bring you back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, if that's the thing, I wonder if like they're all like, all right, we got some writers in, we're gonna fix some stuff, gonna be able to get things out, and let's see where we're at, and you know, not have to worry about actors. But
Yeah,
actors are gonna promote these things. They need to be out there. Um, but yeah, so the thing that bugs me is that Mission Possible's this is part two, like right? They've done like mostly everything already. So this is supposed to come out in June
yeah.
of 2024, and now they're saying May 23rd, 2025. So
I think
almost
it's
a
definitely getting
year.
rebranded though. I don't think it's gonna be Reckoning Part Two because
I mean, did you see Mission Impossible?
No,
Did you see it?
I
Okay.
need to see it
I
still.
mean, yeah. I mean, it's a part one, and
I
it's
mean,
called part one
it
for a
clearly
reason.
is, but I don't think they want
Stigma
the
of
stigma of part two, right? Because like
yeah.
anytime that's happened, it's usually hasn't worked out too well, you know.
Mhm.
Um, Plus they can use this time to be like, oh, it's a sequel, guys. Like, haha, remember
Right.
2 years? It's a long
Mm-hmm.
time ago now. And it's like, oh wow, okay, yeah, sure.
It's interesting. It did it did 567 million globally, so that's definitely a disappointment for what they would probably expect to be
Yeah,
making.
they just came out too close. It was that period where everything was fucking coming out,
Mm-hmm.
and then Barbie and Oppenheimer just sucked up
Oh,
everything out of the
yeah,
air.
exactly. A Quiet Place. There's another Quiet Place coming out day one, and that's taking the place of Dead Reckoning's date. So that's getting moved back also from March 8th of
Yeah,
2024 to June 28th.
and Deadpool I think is moving as well.
Yeah, and that's the other thing because that got moved up.
It got
It
moved
got
up,
delayed. It got moved up, and then it got delayed
moved
again.
up, moved back.
Yep. So yeah, it's. I mean, that's what we're gonna be seeing a lot of.
I mean, we
Just
called it
more.
though. Like, you know,
Yeah.
this was the downside of them fucking around for so long, 4 months or
Yep.
whatever it was.
hmm And yeah. And speaking of Deadpool, we do have some Deadpool like other than getting pushed back. It looks like they're saying May of 2024 because of the actor strike, which we assume was gonna happen. But there's also, I guess, the Deadpool director, Sean Levy, or Levy, is doing a Star Wars movie. Now, Jim should have been here for this because he's probably had opinions, but it's other than the fact that we're getting more Star Wars, I don't know. It doesn't, there's nothing really known about it, and so it's not really that exciting.
Mhm.
Like, if it's gonna be different than what, if it's gonna follow along, I guess, in the Filoni, oh, I can say
Filoni.
thank you, Filoni, universe that they're building here, then it could be interesting, which I assume they would want to do, but uh, I don't know. Just more Star Wars seems like they need to take
I'm
a
so
step
fucking tired
away.
of Star Wars, honestly.
hmm Well, that's it. Yeah, same. It's like it hasn't. I haven't seen an improvement. Like it just like, okay, this is exciting. We're gonna get something good, and then it just keeps getting
Worse.
worse. Like yeah, and so that's everything that they put out for me
The
so far
exception of Andor.
recently.
The exception of Andor.
Yeah, I did not follow through on that one.
Oh
So
my god. I wish you had watched that
yeah.
instead of Ahsoka. I really do.
No, I mean, at some point I probably will because there'll be stuff that dries up and I'll need to watch something. So I might get back into that. We'll see. It was hard to get into. So
No, no, I totally
um,
get it. I was there with. I was. You remember how skeptical I was the
no, yeah,
entire time it was out. I was
definitely.
like, yeah, Jim, sure. Like, if you could tell me by the end, it's honestly still worth it. I will watch it then, but not a moment before. And I was like,
hmm
okay, yep, yep. There you go. Like,
Um,
that's what Star
but
Wars
yeah.
could be, but not usually. Not usually.
So yeah, let's get off of Star Wars because that's
Yes.
enough of that. Netflix. Netflix has been killing it, and the numbers are showing that they're still killing it because they have had some of their best like subscriber growth in the last 3 years this quarter, especially after the password sharing crackdown that they did. And the thing is with them is they have content that's worth sticking around for, that's worth like, oh, I've been sharing a password with people, but I kind of really want to watch this and can't now, so it's worth it to pay, whatever $11 it is for my own subscription because they have some great original content. They keep pushing out more interesting stuff to
Mm-hmm.
watch because, like they're saying, we're kind of just getting the same stuff. At Disney Plus, they really it's just the same thing constantly. It's regurgitating
Regurgitated.
itself. Max has really nothing interesting. Like I was saying, the only thing that's really been interesting, Apple has
Apple.
interesting shows, and that's pretty much it from these streaming services. But yeah, Netflix, some great subscriber growth. Mike, anything on there that you would be interested in subscribing
I
to
would
type in?
have it. I would have it if I did, but There's like two things I would watch if I had it, but it's not worth having it. So whatever.
Mm. Which two things, Mike? What two things?
Um. Oh. I guess I would watch that Sonic show for a little bit,
Oh, is it Sonic
and
Boom? Is that what it's called?
no, that's an
Oh,
old one.
oh.
Sonic. I don't know. Fine or
Sonic.
something.
Mm.
And the other thing would be, I think, Into the Spider-Verse finally made its way onto that.
Oh, right, right. I did
So
see
I would
that.
watch
That's
that.
coming.
I would have watched that there if I had the subscription, but I don't. And I
Okay.
do like some of the comedy stuff. I might check out
They
Letterman's
do actually have
show and
some
stuff
pretty
like
good
that.
commentaries, and they have good documentaries. Like
Hmm.
it's like it's the thing is they don't just have like, oh, here's a cool show
It's not just
comedy that
shows and movies. It's
right, exactly.
But
But yeah,
yeah,
so it is a week before Halloween. So I was wondering if you guys had any like
Well, hold up. Before we
traditional.
move off that news, so just to
Oh,
touch up, they
oh,
added 8.8 million new subscribers last quarter.
oh, Jesus.
So they took away password sharing, and then they got fucking 9 million
Well,
basically.
okay, so that you know what that means, right? That just means
it
every
worked.
subscription-based
Oh, absolutely.
company's like
Everybody's
gonna be like,
well.
oh, okay.
Well, Disney already said they're planning it next year.
Yep.
But here's the thing. Here's the difference. Again, like you said, Corey, Netflix can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Disney cannot.
Yeah.
HBO Max cannot.
Well,
Paramount
that's the
Plus cannot. These other fucking companies do
I think
not have the
Paramount
content.
Plus already did that, and that's why I'm not
well,
watching the
and
Turtles
that's the
movie.
other thing is the difference here is that they were still growing slightly with their subscribers, where these other streaming services are losing subscribers, right? So they were
Yep.
still kind of like staying
Yeah.
neutral or whatnot, but everyone else has just been like dropping off.
You know. And welcome, Churro. Welcome back. Thought you abandoned
Hmm.
us last week. I really thought they had a little bit of something for everyone. Netflix even has games for mobile users. Yes, they do.
That is true.
If
Yeah,
you
they have
go
like
onto
video games.
if you go onto the Netflix app, you can download a bunch of games, and they're not just like some of them are probably crappy. I've never heard of some of them, but there are a lot of good games on there. Like the mobile port of the Shredder's Revenge is on there.
Hmm.
I think there's a Transformers game
Into
I
the Breach
downloaded.
is on there, which
Yeah,
is a
Into the
great game.
Breach. I love that game.
Yeah.
Shovel Knight Pocket's on there.
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely ported some like mobile stuff to it, but at the same time, it is a lot of just high quality, indie games that are worth your time. They
Hmm.
also had that what
Well,
was it like a Black Mirror like interactive
Yeah,
thing or something, which
yeah.
was interesting. So like they're trying
this
stuff.
They're
is
trying.
all
So I
yeah,
think
that's
Yeah.
great, but I view this as bad news. Because everyone, cried about this sharing crackdown so much online, and only I apparently stuck to my guns and did not
Mhm.
sign it in again. Everyone else is a hypocrite.
Folded.
So good job, guys. Look what you did now.
Yeah.
Streaming
Yeah.
apocalypse.
No, I'm sure some people stuck to it, but 9 million people are like, you know what? I need my Netflix, and there you go.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
because
It's
they
been one of the
introduced the
worst.
ad tier version, which isn't bad. I think it's what $7 or $8.
$7? Yeah, somewhere around there.
I mean, that's not bad, especially if you only watch one or two things a month. I mean, the
Hmm.
more you watch something, the more ads are intrusive, right? But if you only watch one or two things, I mean, the ads,
If you're watching a lot of YouTube, you're getting those
yeah, you're
ads
getting
also,
those ads
right?
anyway.
Like,
Yeah,
it's like if you could pay $7 to get some Netflix quality content, then it's probably worth it. If, like you said, if you're not constantly watching it. So
yeah.
I,
Now,
I don't mind ads if they're like 30 seconds before and then 30 seconds at the end or something, and then you can just kind of watch, or maybe one
yeah,
break in the middle. That's not terrible.
yeah.
It's just when it's like
I don't want it in the
constantly
middle
happening.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Now, with this news, they are announcing another price hike.
Yeah,
That's what
they
we
did
get.
do that.
That's what you get.
Well, I mean, whatever. The price of the content's worth it. In the U.S., the price of the basic plan without ads is jumping from $9.99 to $11.99. The premium plan, which gives you the Ultra HD across 4 devices, goes from $19.99 to $22.99. So $2 to $3 for probably. I don't know. I don't know how popular but the ad versions aren't being touched at all. It's just the other version.
Mhm.
So this is understandable because, like I said last year, they're exiting the growth phase and they're focusing on the profitability, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and what's that, $36 a year essentially? So
yeah, so not too much
yeah,
when you think about it. You know, it's not like fucking PlayStation Plus where they just increased it by like what 30% or something like that.
yeah. Or even we just talked about it the past couple weeks. Disney Plus is gonna go up like
Yeah,
40%.
yeah. I'm like, nah, fuck you, Disney Plus. You barely worth the money I was paying. You're,
Yeah.
you're increasing it. You're delusional. Um, so yeah,
Well,
that's Netflix, and of course, you know, stockholders are happy, so good for them.
of course. Yep. Okay, so like I was getting into before, we are on the cusp of the Halloween season. It is one of my kids' favorite holidays, obvious for obvious reasons.
Yep.
And it's a fun one. It's one of my like I enjoy this one because it's not like super crazy and you can just kind of enjoy like going to a farm, right? Picking pumpkins, carving pumpkins, dressing up, getting candy, all that kind of stuff. But the scary part, scary movies, like there's some really good classics and some, pretty decent newer ones actually that have been coming out recently. I'm wondering about you guys though. Do you have any like traditions for Halloween movie wise or TV shows that you watch that you like to like delve into each season? Mike.
I generally don't normally. But I've seen, and I'm stealing this a little bit, from Cinemassacre, but this year he's doing a thing where he's going over Halloween episodes of TV shows. And I do like a good Halloween like episode on a TV show. So I remember, if you have some service that has old shit, which a lot of them do, going back, I love a good Home Improvement Halloween episode. They went
Mm.
all out on their Halloween episodes all the time. Like where Tim would like build up the basement and be like this completely like not feasible for a real person like funhouse in their basement, but crazy stuff like that. So I like the sitcom old Halloween episodes a lot. There's that. I think I recall Roseanne also did really good Halloween episodes. Then you have the cartoons like the Garfield one where get chased by pirate ghosts, or obviously the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, which you can't find anywhere anymore for some
Mm.
reason.
Is that on Apple?
Um,
That, that's got
I'm not
classic.
sure.
Because
It
Apple
like
has the
comes and
rights for
goes.
Peanuts, I thought.
Maybe I don't
I
know.
have to check that out. So that's a great
There's
one
even a
for the
few,
boys.
and in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, every other year they didn't do it every year. They had a Halloween episode. And the one that stuck out to me was an early one where some happens and everyone becomes what they were dressed as
Yep, it's on
Mm.
there.
for like Halloween night. That was a good one
There you
too.
go.
So
Great pumpkin.
yeah,
Oh,
I like
cool.
the episodes of the TV shows. A little bit more. I'm not a big horror movie guy. Like I like The
Okay.
Shining, but I think it's funny. I think it's more funny than scary in like under today's lens, The Shining.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I'll go with those TV shows. I like them.
Nice. How about you, Tony?
Uh, no, I wouldn't say so. I like to watch, usually I like to watch something new, that I haven't seen before,
Mm.
whether mostly like horror stuff, even if it's not necessarily like scary to me, but like I just like the hokey, like just cool, like be scared or watching other people be scared or whatever like that. And
Right.
actually, so I'm sorry, I went down the rabbit hole due to a Reddit post
Mm.
about the Blob. Now I don't know if you
Interesting.
guys remember
Oh,
the Blob.
John Carpenter.
Yeah,
Which one?
yeah,
Yeah,
I guess so.
one. Is it the '80s or like super old, like the '50s?
I guess the '80s then. Yeah, because it was in color and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But somebody made a post about the Blob, and it got a lot of traction for whatever reason. And like I'm reading through it and I'm reading the comments. I was like, man, I do remember this. Like I remember seeing this as a kid and being like slightly like obviously scared out of my mind and stuff like that. But these people were like, I wouldn't take a bath for like weeks after this movie or something like that because like I think there's a shower scene or something like that. But
Oh yeah.
and then because of that, I was like, wait, there's this other horror movie or show or something like that that had a similar monster to like a blob like thing. and I went through some internet sleuthing and found that there was a movie called Creepshow 2, and it had this premise of like this group of 4 teenagers, 2 guys, 2 girls, go to some lake, right? And there's like a raft out on the middle of the lake, so they swim out to it, and there's like this one character sees like an oil slick or whatever like that, but it's moving, and lo and behold, it's a monster, kind of like the Blob, where it just like stickies you and then just kind of absorbs you and stuff like that. So slowly, this like thing just picks them off and stuff like that. But I remember being kind of freaked out by that because it's like, oh shit, like you can't. What are you gonna do? You're just gonna get absorbed and stuff like that. It's gonna be painful. Like damn, like that was one of the first times I remember like, man, something could eat me. Like that's scary. Like I eat everything. Like I'm the apex here, right? You know,
the food chain here.
Yeah. But stuff like that. So maybe I'll go through.
Definitely less of a concern as you grow up. Not the same.
Well, yeah.
Not as worried as an adult as we thought as a kid of things eating us.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'll probably find something on one of the things and start to go through it, or pick up an old one and just be like, oh, I haven't seen this one in a while. It was just Friday the 13th, so maybe I'll go through
There you go.
1 or 2 of those.
Friday the 13th, I was never a big fan of those movies. I guess the first one's okay, but I don't know. Like Halloween, I guess that original Halloween is probably the best of the slasher movies, I think, in my opinion.
I think Halloween's were on average better, but I just kind of like the recurring theme of like Jason being more of like an unstoppable force, right? Where it's just like, you kill him, like he'll come back though. Like there's no real stopping him, kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to think.
Plus, some of those deaths are just so funny, right? Like
they are like they're just outrageous and over the top. Yeah. And it feels like every sequel you're trying to just top the last.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Jason in space.
That's ridiculous. I think. I'm trying to remember some of the ones like growing up. They had some pretty because the things like nowadays it's all like these super special effects with computers. Back then it was practical effects, and it was way creepier.
Hit differently.
Even like with like puppets, like monsters, like they were way creepier. Like even like the Gremlins, I felt like were like super creepy.
Do you remember Critters?
Yeah. Critters, yes, that's what I was trying to think of. Yeah, those were nasty. Like yeah. So and some of the video, the VHS cassette, like the covers for some of these, pretty nasty,
outrageous.
But I know we've talked about like some of our favorite horror scary movies before, and like Thing is always one that I think came up as one that's it's for a scary movie or psychological thriller. That's always messes with you because you have the shape-shifting monster, and then it like practical effects again are just messes with you.
The Thing is one of my favorite movies, just period. But like it's absolutely one of those horror movies. I would recommend to anybody if you haven't seen it before because it's. And especially if you haven't seen this movie and you've played Among Us, you know what this is about. Where it's just like
exactly, yeah, it's like the premise essentially. So yeah, that and then I like Alien is always one that I go back to as far as scary
Alien
movies
1
go.
is one of the is absolutely a horror movie.
And it's just because it's the fact that the monster is just creeping, like it's always there, but you can't see it, and it's like,
or by the time you do, it's too late, right?
Yeah, and the people just breaking down, like
one by
their
one,
deconstruction of this crew is great. But as far as like slasher, I think I talked about like Fright Night. I mentioned last week. That was interesting, and I haven't got to watch the next 2, so I'm actually pretty excited to do that because I want to see where this story goes because it was pretty good, the first one, for what it was. And if you like kind of more comedy horror instead of like scary stuff, there's that Happy Death Day movie, which is pretty funny because it's like a Groundhog Day type of thing where this girl gets murdered and then she wakes up when she gets murdered and has to live through the same day over and over again getting murdered. And so she has to figure out her murder, and it's actually pretty interesting, and it's got like a little bit of a like a love story to it too, which makes it like a little heartwarming as well.
What was the movie with it's a group of women that go spelunking? Is it The Cave?
The Descent.
That is a really good movie. Holy shit. That is.
And there's 2 endings. So like
I didn't know about it until we talked about this before, and I was like, what? And I went and looked up. I was like, damn, that's ridiculous.
There's one that's just not as happy as the other one. So Yeah, that's a great call
Or
out
The
there.
Mist. Oh, I love The Mist.
There's another one where the ending just like
Yep,
fucks you up
fucks
because
with your head.
that one is like,
That I
oh,
watched
what
on
was it?
TV.
There was like I saw a Reddit post about that too. Like not about the mist, but it's just like just take a clip of a thing and just be like, if you know, you know.
If you know, you
And
know.
it's like it's just Thomas Jane in the car with a gun, and it's like if you know, you know.
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, that's interesting because they totally changed the ending of the movie
Yep,
from
yep.
what it is in the
From the
book.
book, yep.
Uh, yeah, so then there's like the really creepy like Hereditary and
Mm.
what was the other one? Uh, from the same guy.
Uh, See, that's the one bad thing is like
Mhm.
watching all like the names kind of start to blur together. I'm like, what's
Hmm.
what? It's like
Yeah,
Hereditary and
Hereditary is pretty creepy and got supernatural elements to it, and it makes you never want to stick your head out of a car.
yeah.
uh, shoot, what is? And then Event Horizon's another one that I love. A sci-fi. It's sci-fi
Sci-fi horror is
horror.
really good.
Yeah. So that like they find like a, you know how it's like, oh, if you can like super speed through stuff or whatever, like warp speed, like, but what if that opens a gateway to hell?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
so it's pretty cool. And then yeah, so like those are some pretty good scary movies. And yeah, if you guys have some suggestions as well to check out during the Halloween season, obviously,
Japanese shit tends to get fucking
yeah.
weird as hell. Like The Ring,
Mm-hmm.
and its American
The
adaptation,
Grudge.
The
Yeah.
Grudge, yeah, stuff like that. Those are good. Um,
Somebody threw out Old Boy to me, and I was like, that's not a horror movie. And
it's
I was,
like
and
it's definitely more like a psychological movie. I mean, there are horror
yeah,
elements to it, but like
hmm
I wouldn't classify it as true
yeah,
horror, right?
no,
Or
definitely
I think we talked about this, but like, I consider like
brutal.
Jaws the original. I consider that
Mm,
to be like a horror type movie.
yeah, no, it's fair. But yeah, the psychological horror stuff, even Cabin in the Woods, that kind of
Oh, I
like,
love Calvin was yep, that was a good one.
yeah, it's a good one.
I haven't watched that
But
one in a while.
yeah,
I like
Um,
Psycho as a movie. I'm not sure how scary it is, but at the
yeah,
time maybe it was.
yeah, I think probably
that's
is
it, definitely
blurs
it's
the line.
lost some of
Psycho,
its,
yeah,
yeah, people being so desensitized
yeah.
now. Back then,
Back
like
then, he is
start the
groundbreaking.
movie
Yeah,
with a murder that like that, it's like what is happening? And then creepy guy,
yeah.
absolutely.
Before it got milked to death, I actually really like the Saw movies.
That's a good
Mm.
call out too. The first one and even the second one were really like top notch because like it made you think more because
Yeah,
it's like this killer who had like a purpose for what, like, he was not just like some psycho guy, and like he gave you a choice, and it's like, how far would you go for what you believe in or what you say, right? It's like
yeah.
you say all these
Right.
things, can you really
Don't do Netflix again. Yeah.
right, are you a hypocrite or not? So yeah, those were good. And like, yeah, Jigsaw was a great character as far as you wanted to play a game.
Want to play?
But yeah, that's the thing, is like you have like these great franchises, and then you just kind of, you know, keep pumping them out until like
And they
they're
just came
That's
out with like
overstayed
Saw
their
10
welcome.
or something like that.
They did,
that's the
yeah.
Yeah.
whole kind of the legacy of these horror movies though, because in general they're kind of cheap to make and they normally
Mhm.
make money.
Yeah.
So there's a
Yeah, I don't
name,
mind.
they're just gonna keep going forever and ever.
And that's
And
fine. It's good.
then some of them are bad and it's funny, but it's
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, that's the thing is right. Is like usually even if a horror movie's bad, I could usually laugh at it and it's entertaining.
Mhm.
Like I will never forget when I watched House of the Dead at an
Oh,
employee screening while I worked at the
oh
theater.
no.
I mean, this was so bad. Like we talk about bad video game movies. This is absolutely one of the worst video game movies.
It
But
had Lois Lane from
Was it?
Smallville in it,
yeah,
right, Mike?
it was still
Yeah.
just so funny in a lot of ways. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I will never forget this quote where one of the remaining like good guys is interrogating the bad guy. And he's like, "Why'd you do it? Why'd you want to become immortal?" He's like, "So I could live forever." And it's like, what? Like,
No shit,
it's like,
Sherlock.
yeah, it's like, duh, like
Mhm.
with I mean, the movie starts out at an official Sega sponsored rave.
Right.
At
Right.
one point
Oh,
during
of
the movie,
course.
it's like
Yeah.
it's like raining up a storm on half the island. On the other half, it's not not even a fucking drop in this in to be found. Oh man, that was good. But
I
we
was who was that director? He did like a bunch of shitty video game movies.
Yui Bowl or
U Bowl,
something.
yeah,
Oh yeah, that's right.
Bowl.
Uwe or Uwe or
Yeah.
however you say his
Uwe,
name.
yeah,
Yeah.
Uwe
whatever it
Bowl,
is.
yeah.
Also, oh yeah, when you thought like that reminded me of Scream. I think Scream did a great
Oh,
job of
Scream.
like,
Watch the first
um,
few Screams. Yeah, I like
yeah,
them.
yeah, they were.
Like
It was
sort
good.
of funny, but not really, kind of in
Right.
between.
It was like
It was
not a
like
full
half
on
camp.
parody, but it was just like
Yeah.
taking the tropes of horror films and turning them on their head a little bit, and that like kind of revitalized some of those movies. Also,
Yeah,
I felt like
absolutely.
it kind of brought them back. So,
Texas Chainsaw
and then.
Massacre, classic.
Mhm. Oh yeah, yeah. So there's definitely a ton of these movies that are out there that is something for everyone. you know,
Yeah.
like I'm not a big fan of like the hostile type movies where it's just like torture porn. Like that's not my
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But there's there's those out there as well. So yeah, and that's yeah. Just let us know if you guys have any of your favorites that you enjoy during this season, and we'll talk about it again next week. We should be here for a Halloween episode, but if not, like normally, we're here on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock live. A little late today because we were hoping Jim would be with us, but he's dealing with some things, so uh, showing up a little late. But definitely check us out on YouTube, on Twitch. Follow us on Twitter, and comment, like, and subscribe. We would appreciate that because it helps us get out there a little bit more. So until next time, we will see you in the game cast. Adios.